Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Confessions of a Stenographer, where we are focusing on all things steno and the legal profession. We want to start out by saying thank you for tuning in. I am your co host, April Benson. And for those of you that are meeting or hearing me for the very first time, I am a 22-year court reporter veteran who started my career as an official for the district courts in the hometown that I used to reside in. I then migrated over to working for the United States Air Force, and I'm currently working as a freelancer where I love my freedom and I love my time. This month, as you know, we are celebrating Black History Month. And so I thought it prudent to showcase some of our legendary greats. And who else other than the wonderful Brenda Countz? And so, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to some and present to others the lovely Brenda Countz.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, April. Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening. Good evening. So, Brenda, I've got a question for you. Sister girl, are you ready to confess?
Let's do this, April.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm just going to get this kicked off by just asking you. Now, see, I know a little bit about Brenda Counts, but some of our listeners don't. And so I'd like for you to just tell us a little bit about Brenda Counts. Start out with letting us know what your current title is and where you currently reside.
Well, I am a freelance California deposition officer residing in the hills of Los Angeles, California. And I work part-time because obviously I've been in this industry a very, very long time.
Mhm.
So I work part-time and then I travel when COVID allowing the rest
Okay.
of the time.
Awesome. Okay, so I heard that part about you saying you've been in the game a long time. Listen, 52 years and counting. I think that's amazing. That's amazing. I
I am
want to,
amazed myself.
oh my goodness, I'm so inspired. How can you tell me how did you get involved with stenography and give us a little bit of your journey? We want to know what that looked like. Kind of
Oh,
paint a picture for us.
sure thing, sure thing. I was born and grew up in Washington, D.C., in Northeast, about 10 blocks from the Capitol. And I was born at a very interesting time, Black history wise. I was born in 1949.
Hmm.
I'm a product of the DC public school system. I've always loved music and playing the piano and singing. But my dad started telling me when I was a little girl that I was
Hmm.
going to college to be a CPA.
Hmm.
But yeah, and I was walking around, knee high to a duck saying, I'm going to be a CPA. Didn't even know what a CPA was. But as luck would
Uh,
have it, when I was in high school, my parents divorced.
mm,
So my mom was a homemaker, and she went and got an entry level job in the government, and money was in short supply. So I decided at 17 years old, because I graduated from high school a year early,
mhm.
that I was not going to a 4-year university, that I needed to train in something quickly and start to make some money to help the household, to help my mom and
Sure.
my younger sister.
Hmm.
So my mom told me, she said, you've always had fast fingers.
Hmm.
I think you would make a good court reporter. And I said, what is that? And to which she answered, the lady on Perry Mason with the little bitty typewriter that is silent? She's a court reporter. And she
Mm,
said, I think you would be good at that. I met some ladies at work and they're going to school to be court reporters. And they told me that court
mm.
reporters make $10,000 per year.
Wow.
Right? Right. So
You're
I
dating
said,
yourself, Brenda.
Huh?
You are dating yourself.
Oh, look, I told you. Look, my age is so out there. I am so thankful to God
Oh,
to
yes.
be still living my best life and to be in good health and to
Oh,
have
yes.
good energy and to still be wake up excited and happy every day and grateful every single day. I'll tell anybody who will listen. I am going on 72 years old in a few
Awesome.
weeks.
That's amazing. That is, see, you are my shero. And we
Okay.
can just listen. I forgot to tell all of the listeners, listen, this is a woman that I look up to. I am so grateful to be able to be in this spot right now, to be able to talk to her, to be able to glean something from her, because I'm still a working reporter. And many of you that are listening in, you may be just starting your journey or maybe wrapping it up or in the middle, in the throes of it. But listen, we've got a great right here. And I'm just now listen, I can be professional. I know decorum. But you know what? I want to be able to grab every nugget. And sometimes that requires kicking off your shoes and just chilling out. So
Do
please
you, April?
forgive
Do you?
us. Forgive me if I seem like I'm just chilling out a little too much. But I want to be able to get everything we can squeeze out of this hour. And so I'm going to move on and ask a very important question. I mentioned that we're celebrating Black History Month, very important month. Um, just let us know, why do you feel we should be celebrating Black History Month? And what does that mean to you? What does that look like to Brenda Countz?
Black History Month is so crucial. It's so very important to everyone. Uh,
Mhm.
when I was born in 1949 in America, we still were in Jim Crow.
Mm.
We, believe it or not, my mom had to get up in the morning and drive past three schools to take me to the colored school. So we've come a long
Wow.
way. We've come a long way
Wow.
as a country, and we've got a long, long way to go. So, just lately, I'm so inspired. I'm so excited to see all the
Mhm.
interest and all the desire to understand and heal and unify across
Yes.
all races, all ages, all
Yes.
religions. I mean, it's been such a long time coming, and there was a point where I didn't know if I was
Mhm.
going to live to see it. So
Wow.
Black History Month is just an amazing time for us to really have focus on us and our
Mhm.
journey.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm black every month, but Black History Month
That's right.
is pretty wonderful in terms of the amount of focus
Yes.
that
Yes.
occurs.
Yes, yes. Well, you know what? Now listen, I have been everywhere because I'm a military brat. And so,
Mm,
but I was born in Topeka, Kansas, the home of Brown versus Board of Education. And my mother, who is from Texas, she ended up moving to Kansas, but she had the pleasure of going to school with the late Linda Brown Thompson,
mm.
who was part of the landmark case of Brown v. Board. And so that just came to mind when you said your mother used to pass by the schools. Uh, Listen, this is amazing. This is amazing
Yeah, we've
because you
come a
definitely have.
very, very long way as a society, and
Yes.
it's so interesting to me that just in this last year,
Hmm.
everything has just been put under a bright light.
Yes.
And that's a
Yes.
great thing. That's a wonderful thing because now everybody has to decide who they want to be in this world.
That's it. That's it. And you know what? You're talking about shining a light. We're shining a light on you because we want to know. Some of us younger reporters want to know how you got your start. How did you stay in the game? So many reporters, they end up washed out and they drop out of the game. But you have remained constant and steady, and I think that is so paramount. just when conveying your message to younger reporters as to how you can stay in the game. And so I want to know certification for me, back in the late 90s. I mean, look, I had a paper tray and, we had to pass all four tests the same day. But what I want to know from you is what was the testing process like for you in your day? And even for that matter, what was the profession like during that time?
First, let me give honor and glory to God because I have had a tremendous amount of natural ability. So I,
Mm,
I I went through school very quickly. I'm not going to say easily. It was intense, and I worked very
mhm,
very hard at it. I was 17 years old in 1966 when I started the uh, Stenotype Institute of Washington D.C. downtown there.
wow. Mm,
And but I was able to complete everything in 2 years, and I had to pass the qualifying test to get out of school. Now, interestingly enough, DC, Maryland, and Virginia
mm,
had a requirement of to be a notary public only to start
mhm,
work.
mhm,
So once you graduated from school, if you were a notary public, you could start work. So as I said before, there was a family imperative that I get to work. I was
mhm,
being courted while I was in school. The people had my reputation had gotten out, and they heard that I was really, really just this wonderkind on the machine.
mhm,
And so I was being offered jobs before I actually finished my qualifiers. So I got finished my qualifiers. I went right to work, DC Superior Court.
mm,
Didn't I really needed a mentor more than I can tell you? And I'm going to
mhm.
digress and say, students, get a mentor right from the start.
Yes,
Do not
yes,
wait. Do not wait. You really need a mentor. You really need a
yes.
mentor. And I've had a history of mentoring a lot of students. That's my way of giving
Mhm,
back. I with a husband and two children and a demanding career, I did not really get very involved in
mhm,
the reporters associations, the national or the state.
mhm,
I didn't couldn't quite get that all fit into the day, but my giving back to the industry, which I love so much, was in the form of mentoring students and spreading the
mm.
word about how wonderful the court reporting industry is.
I think that's amazing. You said something so poignant, and I pray that our listeners keyed in on that point about the mentoring piece, because I think that is so imperative. It almost separates the good reporters from those that are just kind of flying by the seat of their pants, because you get a running head start. um, if while you're in school, if you can
Yeah.
find somebody, do like I did. I made cold calls to the local courthouse. That's how I ended up getting my job. And
Wonderful.
I self interned for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, and didn't know a soul. So for those of you that are listening, do make that your business to find somebody, wave them down, honey, flag them down,
Right.
and tell them, hey, can I just sit up under you? You
Absolutely.
may not
Don't
know
try
what
to
you're
do it
doing.
alone. The mistakes are too costly, and it can be the difference between you really being efficient and effective in
Yes,
your career and not being. It
I
really
love it.
you need help. You need help.
I love that. I love that. I
Because
love
I
that.
was
Well,
very, very good on the machine. I was one of the fastest, cleanest writers out there. It was
mm,
uh, pretty miraculous how uh, talented I was on the machine. But I didn't know
on the
what I
machine.
was doing. I did not know what I was doing.
Mm.
First of all, my DC public school education left me with a vocabulary that was not adequate for all the varied subject matters that
Mm-hmm.
we would come in contact with. And very early on, one of the first things I realized was, I don't know what these people are talking about. So
Mm.
I took out a hardback Webster dictionary and put a
Mm-hmm.
bookmark in it. And I
Mm.
proceeded to take 2 months and I read the dictionary cover to cover and solved that problem.
I love that. I love that. See, there's another nugget. Did you guys catch that?
I read
Did
the
you
dictionary
catch
and
it?
believe it or not, it was not boring.
Wow,
It was not
that's
boring. It was, for
amazing.
one thing, I love English language. I love it. And I
Hmm.
really enjoyed reading the dictionary.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I'm sure that aided, it helped you to be a better reporter. I know that you said that you worked for the DC courts, Superior Courts. Did you
Hmm.
start, was immediately after your certification, did you um, go straight into working
I
for the
went
DC
for
courts as an official?
excuse me, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Now, you know I know better than that.
That's okay. That's okay. Hey, listen, hey, we're having tea and crumpets, honey. It's okay. It's okay. I just I caught that part about you going straight to the superior courts for DC.
I
So
actually
immediately,
I
go ahead.
actually went to the motor DC Motor Vehicles Department for a little less than a year doing their
Hmm.
hearings. They have these little hearings with hearing officers for people whose license has been suspended or revoked, and also for people, the cab drivers hackers board.
Oh wow.
So I went there, and that
Hmm.
way I had some, at least some practical use of the machine and
Hmm.
doing transcripts and stuff. But I wasn't, I had a long way to go in terms of being a knowledgeable reporter who knew how to produce a transcript efficiently and all that kind of stuff. But
Okay.
I got called by the DC Superior Court, and I went there. I mean, I always say yes. I
Sure.
always that's just wired in me. I always say
Hmm.
yes. So they wanted to know if I was interested, and I
Hmm.
said yes, I am. And I went over there. I wasn't even old enough to get a notary yet. I was still
Oh
only
wow.
19. I was still only 19 in 1968, and
Mm.
I went there. Uh, and I was an incredible writer,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
the organization and efficiency and productivity of managing the backlog of transcripts and producing the transcripts
Hmm.
and all that was very, very challenging to me. And also, I gotta add
Hmm.
that I am a highly emotionally sensitive person. I feel a
Hmm.
lot for people in a very
Yes.
empathic way. And so the
Hmm.
courtroom drama,
Mm.
and I had led a sheltered life, so to speak, growing
Hmm.
up. And so seeing all the different ways that human beings mistreat one another and the crimes that they committed upon one another. I was doing
Hmm.
criminal arraignments and things like that. And it really upset me a lot. And I did not like
Mm.
my job at all. So I had worked so hard to become this court reporter, and I was not handling the experience of
Hmm.
day in and day out of the subject matter that I was listening to. Um, I was not handling that well at all. And so, consequently,
Hmm.
between that and having trouble with backlog transcripts was making me very nervous.
Oh,
I,
sure.
I resigned.
Oh, wow.
I resigned. And this is the type of thing I'm talking about. If I had had a mentor,
Hmm.
it would have made all the difference in the world.
Oh, definitely.
I didn't even know all the many facets of court reporting that even existed. I didn't even know
Yeah.
what was, there was no internet back then. I didn't even know what was available to me. I was heartbroken. I thought, now I can't be a reporter anymore because I cannot handle this job.
Wow. That's
And
amazing. That's
yeah, but
amazing.
that's why I sing mentor, 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 mentor.
Yes.
Okay, because
Yes.
a good mentor would have walked me through that. Maybe I would have resigned, maybe I wouldn't have, but I wasted
Mm-hmm.
time
Mm-hmm.
and went through a whole lot of grief
Yeah.
about that. But
Yes.
eventually, in between, I got married, got a house, had a baby, all of that, and I stayed home for a
Mm-hmm.
couple of years. And then when it was time for me to go back to work, I said, I've grown up a little bit. I've got to figure this whole court reporting thing out because I'm gifted in it and
Yes.
I love it. And so
Yes.
I got into my phone book
Mm-hmm.
and I found Acme Court Report, and I think it was the first one I came to. And I called them and
Yes.
I sold myself. And they
Mm-hmm.
told me to come on in, and I went in, and they hired me as a freelancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed there for years, but the owners of that company realized what they had. They realized
Mm-hmm.
that I was so gifted on the machine that they
Yes.
wanted to keep me at the machine. And so they put a team of, they didn't call them scopists back then. What were they called? Note readers. Because
Mm-hmm.
the machine had a paper coming out the back.
Mm-hmm.
They put a team of note readers on me and they put me on daily copy every day.
You got to be kidding. I
No,
was going to ask you about that because I thought I had read somewhere that you were basically one of the pioneers. Now we're talking about in the DOS, the age of the DOS system.
this is before DOS. This is typewriters and carbon
Oh
papers,
my
baby.
gosh,
Okay.
honey, listen. It,
This is carbon paper. This is no. They didn't even have
oh my
desktop
Lord,
computers yet.
you've
They
got
didn't
to
even
be
have
kidding.
word processors yet. No, this was the IBM Selectric typewriter with the bowl and the carbon
I
paper.
I remember those.
All right, this was that. This was that. If you made a mistake, you had to erase all them copies.
All of it.
All
I
of
mean,
them.
all of it. Not a
All of them.
portion, but
But
all.
thank God, these two gentlemen that own this agency realized that they could pay me $1 a page. And I would
Yes.
sit there and write some of the cleanest shorthand you ever seen in your life. Anybody that could read stenotype could pick it up and type it.
I love it. I love
And
that.
so
That's
they
amazing.
totally capitalized on that. And even looking back on it, I was not mad because I was making more money than I had ever seen in my life. I was making more money than my parents. And I was not
Wow.
mad. I was not mad, but I was if I wrote that many pages daily copy now, it would be, a
Honey,
lot more money.
millionaire status.
Oh
Listen, I
yes,
want you
darling.
to put a pin there because we're gonna take a deep dive. Uh, we're just gonna take a deep dive when we come back. You know how this goes. We gotta pay some of our
Yes.
vendors, and we gotta keep the lights on, honey, and keep the listeners
Yeah, I
involved. And
love
the
it.
only
I
way we
love it.
do
Keep them
that,
on. Keep them
we
on.
get our sponsors taken care of. So we're gonna go to a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we're gonna pick this back up and dig more into the life of Brenda Countz.
All
Hang
right
on to
then.
your hats. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to trade in a 40-hour work week and move to a task-based schedule that you're in control of? Scoping International is an online education platform where you learn to assist court reporters by checking transcripts for accuracy, formatting, and editing for grammar and punctuation. Do you know someone that would be a great fit as a scopist? Visit our website at scopinginternational.com. Enroll by February 15th, 2021 for the complete scoping course and receive a free 1-hour one-on-one coaching session when listeners use the code PODCAST21. Gain the freedom to work from anywhere and get started today. Follow us on our socials at Scoping International on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest.
All righty now. Thank you for coming back. Did you enjoy your break? I hope you did. We're going to pick back up where we left off. For those of you that know me and are part of on my friends list for Facebook, we like to tap into social media. And that one of the things that I love about social media is it keeps everyone abreast of what's going on in their loved ones' lives, friends, enemies. Honey, it doesn't matter. That's what social media is for. And so what I did um, in honorance of Black History Month, I thought it prudent to showcase the talent of Brenda Countz. And I went ahead and as we all do, I just wanted her to get some recognition because a lot of people do not know about this wonderful woman. I had people inboxing me saying, "Girl, I didn't even know." And I said, "Well, how come you didn't?" And I'm just so glad that I had the pleasure of digging through an article and I found out about her. Okay, honey, I found that meat on the haystack. And I wanted to take my time and just salute you and take a bow, a curtsy to you. And as I said in my Facebook posting, it's not one of covetousness. I'm not coveting, but it's one of emulation because you inspire me to reach higher heights as a reporter. And this is what it's all about. Eventually, when you decide to retire and go off of the scene, I don't see that happening anytime soon, but you want to be able to pass the torch. And so it goes with me, and so it goes with the listeners. This is what this is about. Circle of life. We want to keep this thing going. Okay, so I want to take a deep dive into this right here. This is what pulled at my heartstrings, and I said, I just got to talk to this woman. When I was doing my digging on you, I read that you were the first African American woman to report a State of the Union address up on Capitol Hill. And you did it for none other than President Ronald Reagan, who I think that's just amazing to me. Because who do we know? Who do I know that can say that I reported a State of the Union address for the president? Honey, I don't know one. But here we have one in Brenda Countz. And so what I want you to do is just talk to us about that experience.
Well, it was quite a big deal because I was the one of the members of the Corps of Reporters. That's what they call the reporters on the House of Representatives side of the
Mm-hmm.
Congress. Mostly men, none of whom look like me. A few
Mm-hmm.
women, none of whom look like me. Uh, and every year they kept track of our page statistics, how many pages of transcript we generated
Mm-hmm.
for the month and then totaled up for the year. And these were all committee and subcommittee hearings that we
Mm-hmm.
went to. And we also traveled with the congressman during the recesses, which they call them recesses, but they're actually district work periods where the congressmen go back home and meet with their constituents and hold hearings in their home state.
Mm-hmm.
So we also went and did that. But anyway, they totaled up our pages and it actually became quite a competition among all of us. I think there were probably 15 of us, maybe, and don't quote me on that. But
Wow.
so I was the only person who had a young family at
Mm-hmm.
the time, and I was working really, really hard because my day was just beginning when I went home. Of course, the
Yeah.
guys had wives at home who did not work. The women,
Mm-hmm.
uh, one of them had one adult daughter, and then the other one didn't have children. So
Mm-hmm.
I was working double duty, but I was actually able to be the top producing reporter in 1985. So
Wow.
that was that year. Every year, the top producing reporter was assigned to the President's State of the Union message that year. So
Mm.
that made it even a bigger deal because they didn't just give it to me.
Yeah.
I earned
You
it.
earned it. You earned it.
I
Yes.
earned it. I earned it. So it was huge.
Were you nervous?
No, ma'am. No. You know, it's so interesting. I'm a performer in my
Hmm.
spirit. And I've
Yes,
never
honey.
had, I was born without the stage fright chip. It's just missing
Yeah.
from my being. I don't have it. So
I
it's
love
like
that.
when I look at other people, I see myself in different packages, and I look at them and I think to myself, all I can do is the very best that I can do, and it's no need in worrying about
That's it. See, that's why God connected me to you. I
it.
love a challenge. I don't shy away from anything, and I just don't have that stage fright. It actually
Isn't that
helps
you're
me
the
to
first person
perform
I've
better.
ever met who said that to me? Everybody else goes, that is really strange.
It makes it, for some reason. I don't know what it is, but the harder jobs are. I have the most more cleaner transcripts. I don't know
Isn't
what it
that something?
is.
Yeah, yeah. It just you get it challenges you, and you're like, here I come. I'm just gonna give it everything that I have to give
Yes,
it. But there's nothing that worrying about it isn't gonna help.
it sure isn't. It clouds your brain up.
No, and
Yes,
being nervous is definitely not going to help. I used to have a
I
little
love
test
that.
anxiety, but I had to figure that out. And I finally figured out that the reason that I was having test anxiety was because my breathing was incorrect. When you breathe,
Wow.
um, when you breathe in short breaths,
Hmm.
it signals the body that you're in danger, that you're panicked, and your body goes into fight or flight and starts pumping adrenaline, and that makes your hands shake and stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so the trick is real simple. You start taking very slow. You pick a spot on the wall or spot on the floor. It could be anything, dirt on the carpet. Pick a spot
Hmm.
and start breathing very slowly and very deeply, and that will signal your body that everything is wonderful and calm, and you
I
won't
love
get
that.
that panic response that you get when you pant. Usually if there's somebody say test, you start, when they said the word test, I would start panting.
Oh wow.
And somebody pointed that out to me. I don't even remember who it was. It was some, I was into all kinds of yoga and everything. And
Hmm.
somebody said, you're breathing incorrectly.
Mm.
And as soon as I learned that, then I didn't have panic, anxiety surrounding testing anymore.
I love that. I love that. Did you all get that little nugget? Honey, I sure did. You know what? I even got it so much to the point I wrote it down, honey, on the
Okay.
corner of my piece of paper. Because I'm so
Important.
tired of getting 94% on this RPR, my last
Listen, that
leg,
was
and
I had to figure out
oh,
something, okay? I had to figure out something because I wanted my RPR and my CRR, and I was already working, but
yes,
I wanted these certifications. I was a member of the association. I was doing my continuing education and everything, but I wanted those certifications behind my
yes.
name.
I love it.
And
I love it.
and I was
Thank
I was
you
I
for
was
sharing
failing
that.
that test. I could write like the wind, and I was failing that test.
Isn't that something?
It
I
was
needed that.
okay. That's a
I
blessing for
needed it.
me. That's a blessing. Anytime my mess becomes my message, it blesses me.
Honey, well, listen, you all, we're listening to the messenger. Y'all better write it down. Write this stuff down. This is something that you can use to reference up the road. Okay. You know what? I wanted to ask you. We just got off on a tangent, and honey, we just having sister girl time. But
Okay.
I wanted to ask you the picture that I posted with you reporting President Reagan's State of the Union address. It looked like you had one of those ugly little green machines. Was that a manual machine?
That was a manual machine with paper coming out the back. Yes, that was 1985.
Oh, I love
85.
it.
The at that point, we had now mind you, all transcripts on Capitol Hill, congressional hearings are
Hmm.
overnight delivery. Everything.
Okay.
So you write and you never see your transcript again. You never see. They take those. They were taking at that time the paper notes, and it went to a pool of typists. And if they had questions, they would come back with those when your turn ended. The turn lasted about an hour.
Hmm.
And if they had questions, they would ask them, but it couldn't be a whole lot. I mean, it was like you had to write. You had to
Yes.
write. And so yeah, no, they had runners who picked up those paper notes. That went on for years. That was how I worked. I did daily copy most of my career.
I
And
love that.
they used to, even when I worked for Acme Reporting, I was doing the Federal Trade Commission. I worked on some big
Hmm.
landmark cases and stuff, and they'd have a little guy driving a Chevy Vega, and he would come over there and rip my notes off and take them back to the office, and they'd split them 2 ways, 3 ways, 4 ways. That's how it went.
Really?
I never, I never saw a transcript.
You've got
That
to be
was
kidding.
my training. That was how I was trained up to work, and so I still pretty much work that way.
I love it, honey. It gives you time freedom. That's what
Oh,
I'm talking
trust
about.
me, trust me. No, I have a life. I've always had a life. I have never. I hear reporters talking about working all the time, and I'm just like, no, 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 no. I'm not gonna say anything because they're gonna throw tomatoes at me. But I don't
Mm.
have that.
Well, honey, listen, you're helping this lady out right here because that's what I am looking for. I think that's what
Yeah,
we're all looking for. So I'm glad everyone is tuning in because, see, like I said, these are nuggets that you can use and, hey, apply
absolutely.
them to your life. Apply them to your life. I was
Yeah.
going to ask you. You were talking about them coming to rip your notes off. I noticed when I watch those Senate hearings, I see those reporters that it's like they're coming in shifts. And so you spoke a little bit about that, but what I want to ask you is what role did you take on after your years wrapped up on Capitol Hill?
All right. Well, let me address one little thing first, and that is that the House side and the Senate side for court reporters is two different, totally different worlds. And then the
Hmm.
Capitol floor is another world. The over there, the turns are much shorter. It's just a whole different thing. The committee, when you
Yeah.
go into a committee hearing, at least when I was there, I don't know what it is today, but you go in, you stay in. They'd come in and tap you out, but you'd be in there an hour and a half or something.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so but what did you ask me? I forgot. I'm sorry.
No, I was just, hey, it's okay. It's okay. Honey, we getting lost in the sauce today.
In
It's
the
okay.
sauce, mama. In the sauce.
I was just asking you, what role did you take on after your time wrapped up on Capitol Hill? Did you decide to
Oh, okay.
freelance?
Yeah. Yeah. You
And
know
what was
what?
that like?
The beauty of court reporting is I have never looked for a job in my entire 52 years.
Mm.
I resigned from that job because my life was falling apart. My husband was tired of being my wife. My children look like those big-eyed pictures. My children were sick and tired of me being gone and being tired and all of that. And I said,
Oh,
I need to resign and get some work-life balance. We didn't have those words back then, but that's what I needed,
sure.
and that's what I did.
Mm.
And so I resigned and I went home and I was gonna just rest and decide what to do next. And my phone started jumping off.
Mm.
Brenda, they say you resigned from Capitol Hill. Oh my God. And I said, yes. And they were like, well, are you available tomorrow? So, I wound up I hadn't planned on going back to work until, I was gonna stay home all summer. And I wound up starting to take a job here and a job there. And I just wound up freelancing. Um, I love being a freelancer, not working for a whole lot of different agencies. because that becomes hectic. I have found um, that I have to be a businesswoman first
Yeah.
and a reporter
Mm.
second.
Mm.
Court reporting, having a successful court reporting business, even if it is just two people, me and my scopist, is all
Mhm.
about organization and efficiency and productivity.
Mhm.
So uh, it works really, really well for me to work for one or two agencies.
Mhm.
And that way I can get the caliber of work that I need.
Such as the
Um,
real-time jobs, the dailies, the
yeah, the
expedites.
jobs
Yeah.
that afford you to pay a scopist because I must.
Come on now.
Hello, I must pay my scopist. That's my work husband.
You better know it. Honey, we keep those scopists paid. Honey, I know I done bought a door handle or something in one of my scopists' house somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, well, my first scopist I had for 18 years. The next one I
Mm,
don't even remember how long. This one I've had for 21 years. I give
that's
them good
amazing.
work. I pay them well. I pay them quickly, and they're loyal
Hmm.
to me because when someone calls me and says, "Can you do a daily tomorrow?" I don't want to have to get clearance from him.
Sure.
Okay, it's like
I love
yes.
that.
If
That
it's yes, it's yes. But
and
yeah.
you're able to attract that that kind of loyalty. I mean, come on, 21 years, one
Well,
scopist,
yeah,
21 years. But you couldn't do that if you weren't an efficient writer. And so
exactly.
these are the things. Are you guys listening? Honey, you better show up on your writing because when you
That's
write
it.
good, you
That
can
is
get
it.
those good premium jobs and you can get a scopist that's going to be satisfied
And
with your
if
work and they're going to stay.
your scopist can do 40 pages an hour, hello.
Come on.
See, what it boils down to when I say I'm a business person first, my
Yeah.
day is worth X number of dollars. My time. I'm just like
Mhm.
one of these here attorneys that has a billable hours. My time is worth a certain amount of money. My scopist time is worth a certain amount of money. It's up to me to make that happen if I want
Mhm.
loyalty.
Okay.
If I want loyalty. If my scopus is only getting out 20 pages an hour,
Mhm.
then you know that means he's going to either have to do one or two things. He's going to have to charge me such a high page rate,
Mhm.
which is going to make our relationship not cost effective.
Sure.
But if I try to make sure that, because the other thing is I'm doing real time, so it's got to be
Mhm.
clean. Okay,
Yes.
I'm delivering rough drafts. It's got to be cleaner. So what the scopist is receiving is really a first pass draft.
Yeah.
It's
I
really
like that.
it's
First
really a
pass.
first pass draft. I'm not sending him anything that he has to um, reconstruct from audio.
That's amazing.
If there are
That's
places that
amazing.
need to be checked against the audio now, all video taped depositions are supposed to be read against the audio.
Yes. Yes. Word for
Uh,
word. Yeah.
word for word, word for word. Uh, so I have places where I already know I have to check it against the audio. There are
Mhm.
places
Mhm.
where he has to check it against the audio. When it comes back to me, there are places that I have to go back again. But essentially, I'm not sending my scopist any junk. All
Yeah. Yeah.
right, and
That's important.
that's crucial. That's crucial because you can't get and keep a good scopist if they can't move through your transcripts in an efficient
Quickly.
manner. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I love
Uh-huh.
that. I love that. Everyone, we are talking about the life of a freelancer. This is the life that that Miss Countz is living right now. And you know what? I want to ask you, as a freelancer, or right now today, what is life like for Brenda Countz? And tell us how you're doing. During this pandemic, dealing with COVID-19, in the world of Zoom hearings, we're having Zoom depositions, and have you picked up very many remote jobs? Can you kind of give us a peek into
Sure.
that window?
Sure. It's so interesting to me that my life has not changed tremendously because of the pandemic. For
Hmm.
for one thing, like I said, I've got 52 years in, so it wasn't like I was looking to work 4 or 5 days a week anyhow.
Hmm.
Not having to drive to jobs and stuff has been actually lovely. I like that.
Say
Zoom.
that again for the people in the back.
I'm telling you because, like I said, I like jobs with special services. I like real time. I like rough draft. I like, when you finish writing all day long and you got to drive for 45 minutes or an hour to get home, to get something to eat, and then go to cleaning up the rough draft, and then, oh, come on, that's a long day.
Oh yes, yes.
And
I love that.
yeah, so actually, to answer your question succinctly, I am living my best life.
Hey, that's what it's about. You know what? A friend of mine posted the other day. She said, "This is my Zoom commute." She was headed to do a Zoom deposition, and she video shot herself carrying a mug of coffee into the next
I
room. So, honey,
love it.
yes,
I
yes,
love.
we're gonna
I wear my
celebrate living our blessed
pearls.
life.
I wear my pearls and my bunny slippers.
There it is.
And go walk
Well,
across the hall from my bedroom to my office with my little coffee, honey, and sit down, and everything is already set up because you didn't even have to take it down in the first place.
awesome. You're
And
living your best life, honey.
I'm living, and I'm figuring out all the different little things that I need to figure out. For instance, now here's a jewel.
Hmm.
Everybody, when you look online at the reporters talking about Zoom, they're all talking about Wi-Fi issues, all talking about Wi-Fi issues. I said, am
Yeah.
I the only person that's old enough to remember what an Ethernet cable is?
Right, right. Oh my Lord.
Ain't no
No,
Wi-Fi. You don't have to use Wi-Fi if the router is down at the other end of the desk.
listen. You now see you. I wish. Where were you at a few months ago? Because I had to get my internet service switched to business, and the guy that the rep, he said, "Oh no, we're gonna do this Ethernet."
Oh, good for
Because
him.
I had a drop, and I said, no, 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 we cannot have that because that's going to cost me a client,
No, that
and
is totally unacceptable. I'm
that
gonna
is
tell you something.
unacceptable.
But you know what else? You live and you learn and you read different things and hear different people talking. That was a huge one for me. And I'm gonna tell you, you could not have gotten that from me a couple of months ago because I just figured that out.
Oh, well, tell us
Okay.
something.
I just figured that out. I just figured that out. No, I was here futzing with the daggone Wi-Fi and all. But the other thing that I found out was if you put your PC on
Hmm.
sleep mode at night or when you're done using it,
Hmm.
that has some kind of weird effect on Zoom.
Hmm.
So if that's something you do, I quit doing it. But if that's
Okay.
something you do, be sure and reboot your computer before you start a Zoom meeting.
Awesome. Did you guys catch that? Honey, I caught it. You ought to see.
Okay.
Y'all should see my pages. I've got notes and notes. I've got so many notes that I'm almost covering up some of my notes on the questions I'm to ask you.
But
this
those
is
two things
this is good.
have gotten. We're looking, knock on wood now, because technology.
There we
But
go.
that has gotten rid of 99% of this technology drama for Zoom.
Yeah.
Those two
Wow.
things. Those two things. I
Well,
would
you know
say
what?
reboot your computer before you start a Zoom meeting. Period. Just do it.
Okay. I'm going to take that word of advice, and
So
hopefully
that your
our
computer is
listeners.
not trying to remember a whole lot of stuff and storing a whole lot of
Yes.
stuff, and you know what I'm saying.
Awesome. You know what? I want to ask you, what is Brenda Countz going to do once this pandemic is over? What are you looking forward to?
I'm gonna be the first, not the second person on somebody's airplane, honey.
Yes, because you're an
Oh
avid
my gosh.
traveler.
That's all I want to do. That's all I've been. You know, like I said, I work a little here and there, but I work for the last few years. I work when I'm not out the country.
Wow.
Or when I'm not back in DC at home.
Over in Dubai, over in Asia. That's what I'm
Yes.
talking
Yes,
about.
darling. Oh, and you know what? I didn't tell about the part where I have gone to some of those countries for depositions.
See,
I
this
spent
is,
a month in Korea on depositions.
oh my Lord. I want to be like you when I grow up. Did y'all catch that? This woman is going over to Korea. Isn't
Uh-huh.
that the life?
Child, I went to Bogota, Colombia, South America to depose the guerrilla terrorists, and the law firm took out Lloyd's of London ransom insurance on me.
Hush your mouth. You better say that for the people in the back again. What?
My son was like, "Mom, what? Where? What?" I said, "Boy,
Oh my
calm down.
Lord.
Them people don't want to feed me."
This is amazing. This is amazing. So
I
can
went
we
to Costa
include,
Rica on depositions.
wow. Can
Between my
we
personal
include,
travel and my international deposition travel, I only have a few more continents to do.
wow. This is amazing. This is so wonderful and
It's pretty
rich. This
cool.
is,
It's pretty cool. So
I love that.
yeah, but traveling is my heartthrob. It just really is, and building global community. I want to have friends all around the world.
That's what it's about. Because we're all
Hmm.
connected. We're all connected. And you never know who
Exactly.
you know knows. You know,
Exactly.
you just
Exactly.
don't
Plus
know.
I never, because I don't have the stage fright thing going on or whatever. I've never met a stranger.
Oh yeah, honey. I'm the same way. Put me in a box, come back an hour later, and I got 100 folks around me. That's what it's
Exactly.
about.
And look, so when I go to these countries and they like, "No, don't leave. Don't leave." I say, "I can't stay here."
Wonderful. You know what? They love you just like we love you, and they
Oh.
have found a jewel. And listen, I'm not shooting any sunshine up your skirt or your pants leg. I'm
That's a
serious.
new one for me.
I'm serious. You are a jewel. And so I don't find it a surprise or shock that they're asking you not to leave. I was going to ask you with your travel. Now I know that that's got to be one of your favorite pastimes. Tell us what are some of Brenda's hobbies?
Oh, I love to read. I love to dance, and I'm a
Mm,
musician. I'm a musician.
okay.
I grew up. I played the piano from the time I was 4 years old. So that's why my mom thought I would make a good court reporter. And
Wow.
so, but listen, but what I really wanted to have as an encore career, I want to be an inspirational speaker.
Okay.
So I had gone and joined the National Speakers Association
Hmm.
to learn more about that, and um, met this lady who was telling me she was doing a jazz vocals workshop, and she said our recital is Sunday. You should come. And I said I'm
Hmm.
there. So I went, and I loved what they were doing, and so I signed up too, and I did it. It was an 8 week thing, and then at the end of the 8 weeks, you perform with a trio. So you
Hmm.
invite all your family and friends, just like a regular music recital, and a really unique situation though. And so at the end of it, I got a standing ovation. And so
Mm,
the facilitators, the teacher, was an international jazz singer, and her husband is the head of the jazz department at Maryland University College Park. So they came
Mm-hmm.
up to me afterward and they said, we've been talking and we would like to feature you at the East Coast Jazz Festival as an emerging artist.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, okay. Then she said,
Oh,
have you
wow.
ever thought about having a professional singing career? I was like, no. She said, well, you could. And I said, well, I'm
Mm.
going to have to take your word for that. But anyway, and this was after my youngest child had graduated from college and I had divorced
Mm.
their dad. But anyway, so I was doing my bucket list thing.
Yes.
I
Well,
was
look
doing
like the stars lined up for you on that. And you know what? I would
on
like,
everything. Look at you and me. Look at this. Look at
come
everything.
on.
I am just a blessed woman.
You are. And what's even more profound is that you're looking to be a blessing to others by, your trade, being a court reporter, you know, speaking on this podcast, giving us younger reporters little nuggets that we can use for application to our careers. And you're blessing people with your voice. And you know what? Right now, I would like to have the opportunity to bless some of our listeners with just a small snippet of a short clip of Miss Brenda Countz doing her thing, honey, and singing. So right now, yes, we're gonna take about 45 seconds and just let you guys hear the wonderful sounds of Brenda Countz.
Merry month of May, sunny skies of blue. Clouds have rolled away and the sun peeps through to express happiness. Joy you may define in 1,000 ways, but a case like mine needs a special phrase to reveal how I feel. I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. Got that string around my finger. What a world, what a life. I'm in love. I've got a song that I sing. I can make the rain go anytime I move my finger. Lucky me, can't you see? I'm in love.
Thank you for sharing that. Uh, we really appreciate you allowing us to take a peek into the window of what Brenda Countz is really all about. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And so I want to segue over into talking about your role with Joyful Jazz. Can you give us a breakdown of what that's about before we go to commercial real quick?
Well, that was just I never really set about to be a jazz singer, and so
Mhm.
when it happened to me after the East Coast Jazz Festival, I started to get calls from musicians who needed vocalists,
Mhm.
and at that time I was still living in Maryland, so I was performing. And then soon after that, I moved out here to California. I got here and I met some people here, and I would go to
Mhm.
different performances, and I would sit and they'd call me and they'd say, "Come on up on the stage and do something, do a little tune or something like that."
Mhm.
So I was downtown at one of these private clubs, uh,
Mhm.
the LA Athletic Club, I think is the name of it. Real gorgeous place and a high-rise building. And the the pianist there was Lou Matthews. He was actually the music director for Nancy Wilson for 20 some years. He
Oh,
traveled all over the world and was a music director and recorded with her.
amazing.
You old enough to remember her, right?
Oh, honey, do I remember her? Oh, she was so gorgeous.
So amazing. So
Beautiful voice.
yeah, well,
Yes.
he was everything you would expect him to be to for her to travel the world with him. And
Hmm.
he was playing the piano that night. And I'm in there with my friends. And so the MC saw me whenever they see a singer in the house, they go, Brenda Countz is in the building, you want to come up and do something for us? And I'm like, sure. So I went up
Mm.
there and I started singing at last, my love has come along. And anyway, so he
Woo!
and I are vibing, okay? When it came time
Ah,
for him to play the bridge, he starts playing Two Silhouettes on the Shade. Anyway, I'm cracking up laughing.
stop.
We had
Stop.
so much fun with this thing, and he was just so relaxed and so cool to perform with. So when it came time for him to take his break, I ordered some hors d'oeuvres and had them delivered to his table, and I went over there and I sat with him, and I said, you know, I'm new-ish in town, and I need to make a CD so that I can properly market myself. And I said, and I need to get in the studio, and I need you to come and go into the studio with me because you are my guy.
Mm.
And he kind of blushed and he started laughing, and he said, I would love to go in with you. And so I said, okay, so where's a good studio? Because I didn't know anything. He hooked the whole thing up. And not only that, the bass player and the drummer were from Nancy Wilson's original trio.
You've got to be kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. See, this is how God cuts up in my life. But that's a whole nother
Say,
podcast, honey.
oh yes, we're gonna do tea and crumpets. You know,
Tea and crumpets, girl. Tea and crumpets. But
I
anyway, long
love
story
that.
short, I picked out 10, I think it's 10 or 11 tracks, pieces that I wanted
Hmm.
to do. And we all met up at the studio in Pasadena. Nolan Shahid is the owner of this wonderful, one of the best studios in LA.
Hmm.
And we went up there and recorded these 10 tracks in 3.5 hours.
You did not.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Because when you're working with the best, it's
Mm.
just easy. It's
Come
just
on,
easy.
come on.
They knew everything to do. I don't think we didn't hardly have even any retakes on most of the songs. We just ran
That's
through 'em.
that's amazing. Did you all catch that? She said when you're working with the greats, when you're working with somebody that knows what they're doing,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
set yourself up for success.
that's it. When you establish yourself with these attorneys as someone
Mm,
who is way ahead of them and knows what they are likely to need and can give it to them yesterday, they're going to
mm.
ask for you to come back.
Yes,
They're going to ask
yes.
for you to come. I have a funny story about that. When I was working for Acme back in the day, I used to go to all these different depositions and a lot of
Hmm.
government decision making body hearings. And
Yes.
the one day the owner of the company called me in the office and he said, "Listen, um, we have 11 jobs on the book tomorrow, and 7 of them are requests for you. What are you doing to these
Really.
guys?"
Mm.
Said, "What?" I said, "I resent the implication.
Wow.
What are you doing to these guys?"
Mm.
But was giving them, I was I was ahead of them in terms of what they needed.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
I was giving it to them and I was pleasant, and I didn't make them feel like they were overtaxing me or
Hmm.
bothering me or anything.
Yes,
I
yes.
made my decision I made to be pleasant to work with and to be totally ahead of them in terms of what they might need.
That's poignant. That's I love that. I love that. That did you guys hear that? She made it a point to be pleasant. That's amazing. That
Okay,
is
but wait a minute.
amazing.
Excuse me. I gotta say this. I've got to say this.
Say it.
I was pleasant, but at no time did I allow anybody to take over and show out and cut up in my deposition.
Now, see, you needed to say that. See, somebody needed to hear that because
Okay.
I have heard countless times from many reporters, reporters that have been in the game
Mm-hmm.
industry for a long time, new
Mm-hmm.
reporters, and I do not understand the being afraid to speak up. You have a lot of reporters that are afraid to speak up. They start talking too fast, or I don't know.
I understand it. I do. But I think the biggest trip up that I see with the reporters is they are not 100% confident about their abilities. So it's
Hmm.
easy for an attorney to make them feel inadequate
Hmm.
when they're having difficulty managing the proceedings. But
Yes.
it took me a while. I wasn't always as strong
Hmm.
um
Hmm.
at the beginning, but it took me a while. I was confident. I knew I could write. I knew I
Yeah.
could write. And I've had them to try to smart off at me, and I was like, just a moment, you're reading too fast, you're going too fast, you're doing this, and he'll go, well, you need to keep up, and I was like,
Hmm.
well, sir, I'm one of the fastest out here, so if you're going too
Hmm.
fast for me, you're going too fast.
Listen, do you want a clean record or a dirty record? It's your choice.
No, if it didn't look, I've had to tell them too, and I can't be nasty to them or anything. The client is always right,
Oh, sure.
but I've had to tell them, you know what, sir, anything that is not on this record never occurred. You do understand that, right? I need you to work with me. Don't work against me.
That's it.
Don't work against me. You wouldn't allow me
Work
to come
with
into
me.
this room and make it impossible for you to do your job. And I'm not going to let you
Yes.
do that to me. I
That's
can't let you
profound.
do that to me, sir.
That's profound. So see, listen, everyone, we just got another nugget.
Uh-huh.
Learn to speak up.
But
Okay?
you have to be pleasant. And
Pleasant.
I will usually try humor first. And if that doesn't work, then
Hmm.
I'll go from there. Only once I've had to ask somebody to meet me out in the hall
Mm,
because I didn't want to humiliate him in front of his colleagues because I knew he would have to save face to
sure.
have this
Sure.
woman correcting him. But
Hmm.
usually, I can say like they'll say something like, okay, well, especially the guys from the East Coast of New York or something. Okay, so we have a plane to catch, so we're not gonna take lunch and stuff like that. And I would say,
Mm-mm.
okay. So if you hear a dull thud and there is
Right.
a big heap over here on the floor next to this machine,
Yeah.
it's only me.
I have actually said that before because these attorneys, listen, they want to get their case resolved, and I want to help them get it resolved, but I can't do it if I'm famished. I
No, I'm
haven't
I'm
eaten.
still human at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah, and so I was like, we don't have to, take an hour, but you all are gonna have to get me something to eat and give me a chance to eat it.
Yes. Just a
That's all.
time
That's
to
all.
refresh.
No
A
problem.
time
But
to
it's
refresh.
you don't allow anyone to mistreat you or make it difficult or impossible for you to do your job because almost
Yes.
most of the stuff that I do is overnight delivery. I
Hmm.
don't have
Hmm.
time to be reconstructing the fractured record. No, slow down, stop talking
Yes.
over each other. But I can say that because I am fast.
Hmm.
I am fast. Even at this age, I'm still really fast.
Wow.
And so I'm totally confident when I say you need to slow down.
That's amazing. So you
You have
heard
to
it.
have the
You
confidence to
from
say that.
one of the greats. She just gave us another nugget. Listen, speak up. If you need them to slow down, ask them to slow down. But what even more importantly, know when it's time to refresh yourself, just like we're about to refresh ourselves now. Okay. We're going to take a small break. We're going to handle some business. And we're going to come back and we're going to wrap up with the lovely Brenda Countz. And we're going to dig a little deeper and find out a little bit more. Hang tight. Don't you go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, Rachel, if I had someone in mind that would be interested in the complete scoping course, what do you recommend?
I recommend they visit our website, scopinginternational.com, head over to our FAQ page to answer any questions they may have. And second, take our free quiz to assess whether or not they would be a great fit for scoping.
Awesome. Now, if a court reporting student was looking for part-time work to make ends meet while in high speeds, would this be a great fit for them?
Absolutely. Scoping can be done full-time, part-time, and less than part-time. I actually scoped while I was a court reporting student. If a student listener would like to go to our website and enroll before February 15th, 2021, they will get a free one-on-one coaching session where we will cover that schedule that would work for them in their current situation.
Yes. Okay, Steno lovers, enroll by February 15th and take advantage of this great opportunity. Thank you, Rachel.
Listen, over the break, you know what? I had an opportunity to have my ear bit by this lovely woman. And I want her to share with you what she shared with me. I said, oh no, honey, we have got to get back on air so that these people can hear some of the wonderful things that you shared with me. One of the things you shared with me, we were talking about kind of going back to taking command of the room. And we know that that only comes if you're confident. And how are you confident? I want you to lay some of that out for us, spell that out for us so that because confidence comes in many forms, okay? You can go into a deposition and be arrogant as all get out. We're talking about bona fide confidence. And you can only take charge of a room if you're confident. And there's certain things that have to be in place for you to do that. So I would like for you to show the readers, show the listeners, spell that out for them so that they understand what it is that they need to apply to their depositions and court hearings.
Yeah, the main thing is that you have got to be a fast, clean writer. And you there's no way around that. There's no fix for it if you're not. If you can't tell the people to slow down because you're not fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're fast and if you have put in the work, you have built your speed up and you have practiced not just for speed but for accuracy. Don't practice writing junk.
That's it.
Right, push for speed and then fall back for accuracy. So when you practice something that's a little too fast for you and it'll have errors in it. Then you drop back, but push it and get as much of it as you possibly can. And then drop back for accuracy. But don't just have your fingers flying all over the place and writing a whole bunch of junk that nobody can read. Always write in a way that you would if you were selling real time. Always write in a way that you would if this was going to go straight to a scopist. And when you do that, when you practice in that way and when you write in that way, when you assert yourself in your deposition, it is your deposition. Oh, I was saying that I love that when I came to California and I had to take the exams, I wasn't allowed to work here because I didn't have a license. But you are licensed in California as a California deposition officer. I love that. I love
Mm.
it is accurate. You're an officer of the court. You're there on behalf of the judge to
Yes.
compile the record, the verbatim written testimony, take custody of all the exhibits,
Mm.
and maintain a chain of custody with those and everything. You're there as an officer representing the court. So don't you dare let anybody walk over you or impede the execution of that responsibility. Because
Mm.
actually, I've never done it, but
Mhm.
you could get up and call the judge if people are
Oh
showing
yes.
out.
Oh, oh, honey, yes. My judge used to peer over his glasses at me like, okay, because he knew.
Uh
He
huh.
knew when I was just hanging by a thread, and
Right.
he'd look over and I loved that about him. He would
Yeah.
stop and make he wouldn't allow me to be manhandled by the
Yeah,
attorney.
isn't that
So
something?
that's
If
a
you have a
strong
good
point.
judge, they insulate you from that. But that's the one thing I did love about court work was that there is a judge and arbitrations as well. There's an arbitrator.
Hmm.
The responsibility doesn't fall on me. But in
Yes.
a deposition, it's all you. It's all
All
you.
you.
It's
All
all
you.
you. And you know it, and you got to make sure they know it and correct them as nicely as you can. You
Yes,
correct.
yes. And I think they know it when you come in the door. I always felt like you have to come in. Honey, you have to walk tall when
That's
you,
it. That's it. And the older I get,
because
it's so funny. It's like I'm wearing a sign. Once I got over 50, it was like I was wearing a sign. And
yes.
they would correct one another. In fact, yesterday I asked the guy on Zoom to repeat something, and he said she doesn't like us. And I said, that isn't true. But he was worried. They get worried. They're like, we want our court reporter to be happy.
Sure.
We want our court reporter to be happy. And it's not that I'm glowering at them or being mean to them. It's just that they know it's in your energy whether people can walk over you or not in all walks of life.
Oh, isn't that the truth? Is and they now listen, they will try you. You
Yes.
know what? I've seen attorneys that some of the highfalutin attorneys, and it's
Hmm.
okay because, honey, I love a challenge. I'm laughing on the inside, and I know you're the same.
Hmm.
They want to see if you're competent. Have you
Hmm.
ever had a situation like that? And they'll go lickety split, and then they'll say, "Madam Court Reporter, may I get a read back?" And you know it what they're doing because they
You
do it
know
too
what?
many
Because I
oftentimes.
because I'm doing overnight copy, we ain't even going there. We ain't even going there. I am not. No. You get 4 words in, and I'm gonna stop you. Reading too fast.
I
Reading too
love
fast.
that.
Reading too
I
fast. And
love
then,
it.
because people, I mean, it is human nature. People automatically speed up when they read,
Oh,
and it's
sure.
a training process that
Mhm.
you go through where you know and sometimes I go, oh my gosh, I did it again, and I was like, it's okay. I mean, it's a normal tendency, but please don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
Please don't
Oh,
do
yeah.
that. Yeah, I don't have any problems with these guys. I don't have
I love
any
that.
problems with these
I
guys.
love, and that's what makes you so special,
Oh,
seriously, seriously, because you have learned, your years of experience have taught you how to have such a rewarding career and love what you're doing, and enjoy it, and reap the benefits from it. And you can only get that by experience. And so I'm so glad that you're sharing all of that with us. I wonder what is next for Brenda Count, in the
um,
reporting field. What would you like to do next?
I would like to be. I would like to speak at the various conventions and conferences for court reporters and also for attorneys.
I love that. And speaking at conventions, can I put a plug in here? You know, Miss Brenda is going to be one of our keynote speakers at the Tennessee Court Reporters Association convention
Come on out,
on
y'all.
May the 13th, 14th, and the 15th. Now, see, I hope I'm not getting in trouble because, you know, this segment is all about Brenda Countz. But she just, hey, she
No,
said it.
but I want them to come out to the Tennessee convention. I'd like to have a
Shoot.
chance to really meet these other reporters.
Most definitely. And for those of you that are listening, you will have the opportunity to hop on virtually. So if you didn't get your fill tonight, now I've still got probably about four more questions to dive into. But if you didn't get your fill tonight, if you leave the table still hungry, if your belly is flopping when you leave, you know what? Just come on back. Meet us. Meet us on May the 13th, 14th, and 15th
It's
for the
gonna be
Tennessee Court
good.
Reporters Association conference, convention, where we're going to have a meeting of the minds. We're going to come together and we're going to really take a deeper dive into who Brenda Countz is. And she's going to really show us how we can apply some of the life lessons that she's learned in her career, how we can make that applicable to our lives and our career. Okay. So I just want to put that little plug in. But you know what? I want you to take this time right now, because no doubt there are students and new professionals, working reporters that have been in the game for a while, but mostly students and new professionals. What message would you have for them?
Um, it's pretty much the same thing. Having a successful court reporting career is about being efficient and highly productive. So, what you want to be doing is solving problems all the time. If you have an outline that causes you to hesitate, pick out something different. Get a new outline. Speed is the absence of hesitation.
Mm,
If an outline is causing you to hesitate, scrap it. Get another one that your brain responds to instantly. Sometimes an outline that someone else suggested that you use is just not a good fit for you.
mhm,
Um, and work it. This is so important. Real time. If you don't feel ready to sell real time to clients, that's fine. But
mhm,
always work in real time. Always be adding dictionary entries to your dictionary. Always be building and fine tuning and your tran rate, because
okay,
that's your money. That is your
mhm,
money. The hot quicker your stuff, more efficiently your stuff trans, the more money you make, and the better reporter you are, and the more confident you are, and the more pleasant your life is. You have mistranslates, untranslates.
mhm,
You want to systematically get rid of those. Always be Just work on two things at a time. Don't try to totally revamp your writing style, because you will go crazy. You won't be able to do anything. Take
yes,
a sticky
yes,
note and put it on top of your machine. I'm working on these two words for the next 2 weeks. And little by
okay,
little, you will get rid of um, the things that are troublesome. And you're constantly defining outlines, constantly defining outlines.
mhm,
The rule of thumb is, if an outline is a misstroke, if it can't be anything else, define it.
okay,
Define it.
okay,
Okay. Also, make sure you're running your phonetics table. If you don't know what that is, it's it's in your software. Go to help and find your phonics table so that you don't have raw steno in coming
mhm,
up on your screen.
okay,
Okay. A phonics table is a miraculous thing, especially if you're doing any captioning. You don't want raw steno coming up on your screen. At least it will be a phonetic spelling, and you can have it be a different color on your screen. It won't be a different color on if you did a real time feed. But don't think real time is just something that you sell to other people. Real time is the tool that you use to perfect your writing right in real time every day.
All the time.
All the time. All the time. So
All the
you
time.
can see what you're writing, and you can see when you run through and you hit F8 and you run through and you define as much stuff as you can possibly. You got to do it anyway.
Come on now.
You don't want to keep making the same mistakes over and over again, correcting the same thing over and over again. If you're like, at the beginning of this job, I made that same misstroke. At the end of this job, I made that same misstroke. That's not, that doesn't, can't be defined as anything else. I'm going to define that.
That's insanity.
Well, it really is, but you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. You know, I don't think necessarily that these things are taught in school.
No, honey. Well, you know, now they have gotten better, but I know when I went to school, and I know when you went to school, honey, we were thrown to the wolves. We didn't know anything.
Oh, it was pitiful.
We were
It
green.
was so pitiful. It was so pitiful.
Baptism by fire.
For
fire. Real.
Yeah, but you want to get rid of your conflicts.
Okay.
Don't just accept conflicts as a way of life. Don't have conflicts. You know, resolve your conflicts just two at a time. Just two at a time. Pick the two most frequently occurring ones and start with those. And when it is becomes second nature to you, because when you first try to change what you write on something, you write it the old way, then you asterisk, and then you write it the new way. So you're writing more. But eventually you stop doing that. When you consistently stop doing that, this time you can do two more words. You can do two more words. But it's, you know, you feel like that, you know, you have to do all of these things at one time. But it's a lifestyle, you know, of just problem solving, prioritizing and problem solving all the time. And then one day you look up and they've all been solved.
That's amazing. You know, everyone, Miss Brenda is giving us lessons to live by. And I pray that you can find something in this podcast that you can incorporate in your daily career life. You know, because it's going to do nothing but help you. And so, you know, I really appreciate you sharing what you've shared with us. You know what? Since you're giving us lessons to live by, I want to know what words you live by. Can you share a little bit of that with us? Do you have any words that you live by?
Oh yeah. I guess the main thing is always treat people the way you want to be treated. You know that. Your grandma told you that.
Come on now.
But the other thing is be grateful. An attitude of gratitude is everything. I wake up in the morning, I write in my gratitude journal. That's the first thing I do. In fact, I keep it in the bathroom because I know I'm gonna swing through there. I write in my gratitude journal every single morning because your life is a story you tell yourself. So you can tell it any way you want. If you're going to have a bummed out negative attitude and you're going to tell yourself, this is terrible, I'm just not, I can't, I just won't, I just don't, then that is true. That is true. If you're going to tell yourself, I'm so blessed, oh glory, I'm just, my life is wonderful. And you know, I mean, people have it so much worse than I do, and I'm just thankful for what I have and what I'm blessed to do. Just be positive, and be grateful.
Positive.
Especially for being a court reporter, because there is no more wonderful profession on the planet Earth. This court reporting is the gift that keeps on giving.
keeps on giving. And you talking about being grateful. Hey, listen, be grateful that you were one of the ones that made it. You know, when I was in school, I think we had 35 people that started out in school with me. And
Hmm.
honey, they fell off like
Yeah, it's like a
uh
marathon.
girl, they just fell off. When
Fell
I
off.
graduated, it was five of us, and I was one of the five.
Isn't that
So
something? So
listen,
y'all fell off worse than we did because we were 20, 24, and four of us actually finished, and then only three of us were actually, made a career of it.
see, you guys are hearing it from because when I tell people that, they say, "Oh, no way." See, they just don't believe it. And
Well, they
this
have no
is
idea the amount of training that is involved.
yes.
It was, to me, the training was all consuming. It took everything I had to do
Oh,
it.
honey, take all the wind out of your sail. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, yes, it's
Yeah, it
almost one of the
wasn't it
hardest
was no
things.
joke. It was no joke. And then taking the great ability to operate the machine and taking that and turning being turned into a great reporter was another whole thing.
Oh yeah,
I
that's a
wasn't
whole
I didn't
thing
come out of
all by
school a great
itself.
reporter.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, just like I said at the beginning of the podcast, the work doesn't start until you actually get out there and start working. That's the challenging part. It
It's
isn't doing
very
the five
true.
minute takes. Oh yeah, you may be able to pass a 5 minute takes, but honey, what does it look like to get out there
Hmm.
and work?
Yeah,
Yeah.
suit up
So
and show up and have the endurance and to
there it
be able
is.
to control the proceedings. That's that's
Yeah.
that's uh, grown up stuff.
Girl, honey, you got to put on your big pants for
Yep,
that.
big girl panties.
I'm telling
Big
you,
boy
because
panties.
it's more than a notion. Everybody just think you're just a glorified secretary, but it is hard work,
Yeah,
but
but it's
very rewarding.
when you look at the way that you can always tailor your career to fit your life.
Mhm.
Throughout my life, whether I had babies or husbands or whatever was going on, I could always tailor my career to fit my life. My girlfriends with all the degrees and sheepskins all across the wall and stuff like that, they had two choices: either work or don't work.
Mm,
I could always zhuzh it a little bit and have my cake and eat it too.
mm.
And I
Now,
don't
see,
know
I love
any
that.
other field that lends itself that handily to, especially for a female, for a woman, when you're talking about, all the different phases and stages of life that we go through as moms and all the other
Hmm.
different things. I know men have stuff too, but
Hmm.
we have to put a lot of keep a lot of balls in the air and put a lot of things together and make it work. And reporting
That's
has
right.
just blessed me a million times over, to be able to balance everything and keep from losing
Hmm.
my righteous mind.
Ooh, you know what? I'm telling you, you sound like you have had such a rewarding career. I mean, just in the short time that we have had time to share and just you know gain some sense of um, kind of your career and what you've had to deal with, your struggles, your obstacles, triumphs. Would you say that looking back over all these many years, 52 years now,
Hmm.
do you really believe that this profession has been good to you, has been rewarding to you?
I, I can't stress it enough. I am so thankful and so grateful when I look at my entire life and all the experiences that I've had and all the people who have come and gone and
Hmm.
just everything. Court reporting has been the one constant in my life that has always been there, and it has always been what I needed it to be for me.
Mm,
And I just, it's a blessing beyond words to me.
that's amazing. I share those sentiments with you, as
Oh wow,
I'm
that's great.
sure our listeners do. It is a very rewarding career, because not only, you can't look at it for the money. You are offering a valuable service. Not only, we're talking about, Miss Brenda shared with us over her 52 years being in this profession, how she feels that this has been a rewarding opportunity for her. And so when you think about that, you know, um, it's rewarding in the sense that you're offering a valuable service not only to the clients of the attorneys, um, that are representing them, but you're offering a service to those attorneys, and you're helping the judicial system in moving these cases along. And so you're an intricate part of, I mean, you're the piece of the puzzle that, have you ever had just one of those huge puzzles? And I'll be doggone, you get down to the last piece and you can't find it. That's how valuable being a court reporter is. And that's how valuable Miss Brenda Countz has been in her 52 years of reporting. And so as we wrap up, I just want to ask you, are there any last minute remarks that you would like to share with our listeners? You know, having 52 years of experience. Listen, I'm going to do like the attorneys do. They ask the clients when they start wrapping up the deposition, is there anything that you haven't shared with us that you would like to
Only
share?
when I started was telling people back in 1966 that I was going to school to be a court reporter. Every other person said to me, but they're going to replace y'all with tape recorders.
No, ma'am.
They haven't done it now, and it's not going to happen.
Oh, they've
Uh,
tried though.
oh yeah, no, and the speech recognition and all of that. Uh, I really feel that this industry is built to last. The association is excellent in terms of represent being a voice for the industry and making sure that we are protected. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is an excellent field to recommend to young people.
Oh,
Uh,
definitely.
it's the best. It is the absolute best, and it is a
Definitely.
growth industry.
Very much so, very much so. And I think, a lot of young people don't even know about this profession. I mean,
They
when you
don't.
tell them,
They
they say,
don't.
oh, the little lady sitting on that machine. Yeah, come here, let me be in your ear. Let me tell you how much money you can make. You get them with that
There
piece.
you go. There
But
you
then
go.
you got to give them the hard truth, the work.
Right.
It's blood, sweat, and tears. And you
Right.
may not make it, but I'm going to be here cheering you on to see to it
Exactly.
that you do.
Get yourself a mentor and go for it. If you have any natural ability at all,
There it is.
you can tell whether you have an uncanny level of digital dexterity. I think
Oh,
it's
did y'all hear
important.
that?
Huh?
I said, did you guys hear that? Say it again. And
Yeah, there is.
uncanny.
I'm gonna tell you. You know what I always say? Court reporters are born, not made.
Come on.
There's a certain innate talent that allows a person to write 225 words per minute at 98% accuracy.
Mm,
It's like being a concert pianist. Some people could practice forever. It's never going to happen.
yeah.
It's something that's in you. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that's in you, and I don't want to mislead anybody that you can go to school and stay in school and it's going to happen. It's if it's in you, you will put in the work and develop it.
You'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know.
Yeah, and you'll know. By the time you get to 125, you'll know.
Oh yeah.
By the time
Whether
you
it's
get to
for you,
125,
whether
you'll
it's for
know
you or
whether
not.
you have, whether your brain and fingers communicate at that level, at that speed, at that speed.
And that's a low speed. Now, that's what you have to come out of school and to get your certifications. But honey, we all know. Now, listen, for all of the court reporters sitting way in the back, listen, you already know. Most times it's almost 300 words per minute.
Well, it runs over that. It runs over that. It
Seriously.
really does. It runs over that. Yeah.
Awesome. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you
right back
so
at
much.
you, my sister.
Thank you so much for this time. Thank you. We don't take for granted the time that you have taken from your busy schedule to impart these wonderful things into our lives. Just, it's an impartation. It is.
Well,
I
it's
see
my
it.
pleasure. It is my pleasure to share my experience with everyone. I just feel like it has been such a blessing, and it blesses me to share. And before we go, I have to say a very special heartfelt thanks to you, Ms. April, for the gorgeous Facebook post, the tribute for Black History Month that you put on Facebook for me.
You're welcome.
Just really touched me. It really touched me. And I'm still
sweetheart,
getting comments and phone calls from people.
See, don't start, because now the hair is sticking up on my arms. But you are certainly welcome. But it was from the heart. I just want everybody to know who you are. I think it would be unfortunate if we had access to somebody like you and we didn't let you know, hey, we see you over there. Hey, we see you. Come on over here. Come on over here. Let me sit at your feet. That's what it's about. Listen, you listeners, you heard it from the best. She told you to go grab a minute. Honey, go borrow one. Put one on layaway. Whatever you have to do, find you somebody. Now listen, hold on. Now you can't be mentored by somebody that don't know what they're doing. Get somebody that's been in the game, that's done it wrong enough times to know how to do it right, that can help you along the way. Okay? Do that for yourself. You owe it to yourself. But again, we thank you so much. And I'm sure we're going to hear more from Miss Brenda. Don't forget, she's going to be a keynote speaker for the Tennessee Court Reporters Association, TCRA, on May the 13th, 14th, and 15th for our convention. So if you didn't get your fill, as I said earlier, you'll have another opportunity to hear more from her then. And so at this time, we're going to wrap up. I'd like to end by saying thank you so much to each and every listener, because we know that you don't have to listen in, but you did. And we are grateful that you took the time to check out this podcast. Listen, for those of you that don't know, this podcast was actually designed for the entire profession, for the working professional reporter, for those that are still in school, for those that don't want to be in school, thinking about going to court reporting school. This is what this podcast was designed for. So we have you in mind, and listen, expect to hear new content, new episodes that are coming up here in 2021. COVID is starting to lift. So, hey, we're putting the coals, getting the locomotive ready. Woo-hoo. So tune in. Make sure you tune in. I'd like to thank you again for tuning in and want to ask you to please have a great rest of your evening. And do a favor for me. Let's get into our court reporting and captioning week that's coming up. Listen, I believe it starts, February the 6th? Starts on Monday, okay? Get involved. See what you can do to help promote this profession. Hey, listen, thanks for tuning in. Be blessed, and we'll catch you next time.